You think you know what McDonald's is. It's a burger company, the most famous burger company that has ever existed. Golden arches, the Big Mac, billions and billions served. It's the first thing every kid on earth learns to recognize. Obvious. Except the men who actually built McDonald's would quietly tell you that you've got it completely wrong. One of them, the financial mastermind behind the whole empire, said it out loud to a room full of investors. He told them plainly, we are not in the food business. We are in the real estate business. The burgers are almost a clever distraction. Today, I want to show you what McDonald's actually is, because once you see it, you will never look at those golden arches the same way again. Let me show you the machine. It starts like a lot of these stories. A guy who was quietly going broke, Ray Kroc. You probably know the broad strokes. Two brothers in California had invented a genius little burger stand, a system for making cheap food incredibly fast, and a traveling milkshake machine salesman named Ray Kroc saw it, instantly smelled a fortune, and started spreading McDonald's franchises across America. But here's the part nobody tells you. In those early years, Ray Kroc was barely making any money because the deal he had was terrible. As the franchise guy, he only collected a tiny royalty on each restaurant's sales, something like 1.5%. And out of that thin little sliver, he was supposed to fund the entire national expansion. He was sitting on the most successful restaurant concept in history, and he could barely cover his own costs. As a burger business, McDonald's was, financially, a bit of a flop. And then a quiet finance man named Harry Sonneborn looked at the books, and he saw the thing that Kroc had completely missed. Sonneborn realized the money was never going to come from the burgers. The margins on a 15-cent hamburger are tiny. No, the money was going to come from the dirt, from the land itself. His idea was simple, and it changed everything. McDonald's shouldn't just rent out its name to people who wanted to open a restaurant. McDonald's should buy or lock up the land and the building first, and then become the landlord to those restaurant owners. Don't sell burgers to customers, rent real estate to franchisees. And to do it, in 1956, they set up a brand new company. And the name of that company tells you the whole secret. It was not called McDonald's Burgers. It was called the Franchise Realty Corporation, a real estate company. That single decision is probably the most important thing that ever happened to McDonald's. And it had absolutely nothing to do with food. So let me show you how that machine actually runs today on every corner right now. It starts with McDonald's, the corporation, hunting for a fantastic piece of real estate. And they are obsessive about this. The busy intersection, the highway off-ramp, the spot with the perfect flow of traffic. They study car counts. They study which way people walk. They study census data. They study which direction cars turn at the light. They are genuinely one of the most sophisticated real estate scouts on the planet. And when they find that perfect corner, they buy it. Or they lock up a very long lease on it. Then they build a McDonald's on it. And then they come find you. You're the person who has always dreamed of owning your own McDonald's. So you pay them a hefty fee just to get in the door. You pay for the equipment, the fryers, the freezers, you hire the staff, you buy the food, you wake up at 4 a.m., you take all the risk, and you do all the work. And in return, you get to run the restaurant and keep whatever profit is left over at the end. But every single month, you have to pay your landlord, McDonald's, two separate things. The first is a royalty, a cut of your sales for the right to use that Golden Arches name. And the second, the big one, is rent. Rent on the land and the building that McDonald's owns and you do not. And that rent is where the genius really lives, because it's not just normal rent. First, McDonald's marks it up. They secure the property at their cost, and then they charge you, the franchisee, well above that, often a markup of 20 to 40%. So they're making a profit on the real estate before you've sold a single fry. But here is the truly devious part. The rent a franchisee pays is usually structured one of two ways, either a flat monthly amount or a percentage of the restaurant's total sales, and you pay whichever one of those numbers is higher. Let's read that again. Whichever is higher. If your restaurant has a slow, painful year, you still owe them the flat rent the floor. But then if your restaurant has an amazing year, McDonald's reaches right into your success and pulls out a bigger slice through that percentage rent. Heads they win, tails you lose. As your landlord, McDonald's gets to enjoy every bit of your hard work without ever touching a spatula. And now look at the scale of this thing. McDonald's has more than 40,000 restaurants in over 100 countries. And here is the number that should stop you. About 95% of them are not owned by McDonald's at all. They are owned by franchisees. McDonald's is the landlord to nearly its entire empire. The land and the buildings sitting under all those golden arches are worth somewhere around $40 billion. That makes McDonald's one of the single largest owners of valuable commercial real estate on planet Earth, bigger than most companies whose entire job is real estate. And the money makes the whole thing obvious. Actually running a restaurant, cooking the food, paying the staff is a brutal, thin margin grind. McDonald's own company operated stores barely squeak out around 15% profit. But the franchise and rent side of the business, that runs at over 80% margins. Being the landlord is more than 5 times as profitable as flipping the burgers. McDonald's knows this perfectly well, which is exactly why it shoved almost all the actual restaurants into franchisees and held on to the one thing that matters, the ground. And there's a final hidden bonus to owning all that land: control. Because if you only lease your building from McDonald's, then the rules McDonald's give you aren't really suggestions. Break their standards, and you're not just risking your franchise license, you're breaking your lease. And a landlord can evict a tenant. The real estate isn't only how they make their money, it's the leash they keep you on. So step back and really look at what McDonald's is. It's a company that owns tens of thousands of the best located pieces of land in the world. And on each one, it installs a tenant who pays a fee to get in, who pays a cut of everything they sell, who pays rent that quietly grows when business is good, and who can be thrown out if they don't follow the rules. The burgers are brilliant, but their real job, their main purpose in this whole machine, is to be the most dependable rent-paying engine ever built. As Sonneborn told those investors all those years ago, the only reason they bother selling the hamburgers at all is that hamburgers turned out to be the single best way to guarantee the tenant can always make the rent. The food doesn't have to make the company rich. It just has to keep the restaurant busy enough that the rent check never bounces. So the next time you pull up to those golden arches, look past the drive-thru window for just a second. You're not really looking at a restaurant. You're looking at one of the most valuable corners in your entire town, owned by one of the biggest landlords on the face of the earth, with a little burger stand bolted on top, there to quietly pay the mortgage. McDonald's figured out the thing almost nobody else ever did. The money was never in the burger. It was always in the ground underneath it. I still can't draw, but now you know that McDonald's isn't just a burger company.